The Fantastic Four are taking their first steps into the MCU, but the cast of the film is a well-seasoned bunch. If you got a spark of recognition from the trailers, here's where you've seen, or at least heard, these actors before. Before she suited up as Sue Storm, Vanessa Kirby was anything but invisible. It's pretty clear she didn't just get hired for sharing a last name with Fantastic Four co-creator Jack Kirby. The English actress had already snagged roles in two of the biggest action film franchises around. She appeared in two Mission Impossible films as the White Widow, 2018's Fallout, and 2023's Dead Reckoning. Kirby also played Hattie Shaw in the Fast and the Furious spin-off Hobbs and Shaw in 2019. If you're more interested in the 1960s look of Fantastic Four First Steps than sci-fi or big action, Kirby has quite a history in period pieces too. One of her first roles was in the 2011 TV adaptation of Charles Dickens' Great Expectations. Since then, she's played a young Princess Margaret on The Crown and Napoleon's wife, Josephine Bonaparte, in the 2023 biopic Napoleon. Kirby has another movie coming out on the heels of First Steps too, as a member of a group of settlers on a remote island trying to survive, in the Ron Howard-directed film Eden. If you watch any film or TV at all, it's been pretty impossible to miss Pedro Pascal over the past few years. You could say this Mr. Fantastic has really been stretching himself.
Okay, don't say that.
Well, he has been doing a lot. He's Joel on The Last of Us. He's the mostly masked title character on the Star Wars series The Mandalorian. He played Maxwell Lord, the villain of Wonder Woman 1984. He was General Acacius in Gladiator 2, and that's just some of his major roles this decade. Though he's been doing a ton of work lately, Pascal has been acting on screen since the mid-90s, with his first major role coming in an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer in 1999. Most of his resume for the next 15 years was one-offs and short arcs on TV shows, but Pascal really broke through with the role of Oberyn Martell on Game of Thrones, starting in 2014. He then went on to nab a starring role on Netflix's Narcos, and from there, it was a straight shot to superstardom. Outside of a few pre-transformation scenes, you won't be seeing Ebon Moss-Bachrach's face in Fantastic Four First Steps. Instead, you'll be hearing his voice come out of the rocky visage of lovable lug Ben Grimm, the Thing. But even just his voice alone will be sure to call to mind Richie, the cousin everyone's rooting for, from the Smash FX series The Bear.
No more forks?
No more forks.
Moss-Bachrach has been around since long before The Bear, though. He's been on screen since 1999, first appearing in the TV movie Murder in a Small Town. From there, he spent several years taking on small movie and TV roles, including one as a bellboy in the Royal Tenenbaums in 2001. One of Moss-Bachrach's meatiest early roles came in the HBO miniseries John Adams, where he played the second president's son and a future president himself, John Quincy Adams. He soon went on to multi-episode arcs on shows including Damages and The Last Ship. His career really took off thanks to another HBO project. Moss-Bachrach became a regular character, Desi, on Girls, starting with the third season. Soon after that, Moss-Bachrach snagged his other Marvel role as David Lieberman, Microchip, on the Netflix series The Punisher. We'll see if Marvel feels a need to explain how there are two of him running around. He's sure to light up the multiplex as Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, but of the four leads in Fantastic Four First Steps, Joseph Quinn is probably the least familiar to American audiences. Fans will probably recognize the English actor best from his 8 episodes in Season 4 of Stranger Things. He played long-haired Hellfire Club leader Eddie Munson, who went out in a blaze of rock and glory. Brits may remember Quinn from appearances on the 2010s TV series Postcode, Dickensian, and Time Wasters, but American audiences most likely first saw him in his single episode of Season 7 of Game of Thrones in 2017, where he played a character named Conor. From there, he snagged a supporting role in the J.J. Abrams-produced 2018 film Overlord, as well as parts in multiple TV miniseries, including Catherine the Great and Les Miserables. More recently, Quinn has appeared in some pretty big movies, namely A Quiet Place, Day One, and alongside Pascal in Gladiator 2, where he played Emperor Gaeta. The Silver Surfer is definitely not someone who you want to see arriving on your planet.
I herald his beginning. I herald your end.
But actress Julia Garner, who plays the Shala Ball version of the Surfer, is a welcome sight all silvered up. It's understandable to have a bit of a hard time placing her, given all the CGI modifications to her face in First Steps. It might be easier when we tell you that she broke out and won 3 Emmy Awards on the Netflix series Ozark, where she played Ruth Langmore in all 4 seasons. Garner's first major role was as Sarah in the widely acclaimed drama Martha Marcy May Marlene in 2011. The following year, she played Susan in The Perks of Being a Wallflower. She then played Gwen in The Last Exorcism Part 2 and Marcy in Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, among lots of other roles. Garner jumped to TV in 2015 on The Americans, where she had a recurring role as Kimberly, starting in Season 3. Another major Netflix role for Garner was as the title character in the 2022 miniseries Inventing Anna. Most recently, she was one of the leads in the 2025 film Wolfman. Ralph Ineson is another actor whose face you aren't likely to see much of, if at all, in Fantastic Four: First Steps, but the Englishman's voice is plenty distinct, and it'll come booming out of the big purple helmet of the Devourer of Worlds, Galactus. Ineson has been acting steadily since the early 1990s. He has a jaw-dropping 155 credits to his name. American audiences were most likely to have first seen his face in the 1995 King Arthur drama First Knight, where he played a character with basically his real first name, Ralph. He really broke out, though, with a recurring role on the original UK version of The Office. His deeply inappropriate Chris Finchy Finch, the best friend of branch boss David Brent, was truly an HR nightmare.
I'm not saying he's fat, but when he jumps in the air, he gets stuck. I'm David Brent. I'm David Brent.
Ineson would go on to appear in 3 Harry Potter movies as Amicus Caro, as well as 5 episodes in the 2nd season of Game of Thrones as Dagmar Cleftjaw. He's had countless supporting roles, but his big starring role came in 2015, in which he played stubborn patriarch William in the folk horror classic The Witch. He's done a whole host of voice work too, including providing the title character's harrowing timbre in The Green Knight. Like Moss-Bachrach, Ineson has another MCU project under his belt. He had a tiny role as a Ravager pilot in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Lyonne has definitely been making an impression over the past few years. She starred in 2 seasons of Russian Doll on Netflix, starting in 2019, and is currently the lead on the Peacock series Poker Face. Lyonne was a child actor, first making a splash as Opal in 6 episodes of Pee-wee's Playhouse in the mid to late 80s. By the late 90s, Lyonne started appearing in some well-remembered coming-of-age movies, including Slums of Beverly Hills, But I'm a Cheerleader, and American Pie, along with 2 of its sequels. Lyonne's career slowed down a bit in the 2000s, with a mix of TV guest appearances and indie films, but she did appear in one of the earliest Marvel movies, playing the blind genetic scientist Summerfield in Blade Trinity in 2004. The TV guest appearances continued into the 2010s, but things really picked back up for Lyonne when she was cast as inmate Nicki Nichols on Orange is the New Black in 2013. She appeared in a whopping 81 episodes of the Netflix series. All that's been officially confirmed about the character Sarah Niles will be playing in First Steps is that her name is Lynn. Some online sources say she'll be Lynn Nichols, a new character who serves as the chief of staff for the Future Foundation. Niles is yet another Brit who's appearing in the film. She's likely best remembered for her role in a show that brought quite a few British actors into the American consciousness, Ted Lasso. She played Dr. Sharon Fieldstone, the psychologist who helps Coach Lasso work through his trauma. After several years in the late 2000s and early 2010s, showing up in small roles on British TV, including Doctor Who, Niles landed a major film role in 2013's Austenland as Delilah. In 2015, she took on a recurring role as Melissa in the Amazon Prime series Catastrophe. She also starred in the 2022 Prime series Riches. While Niles has had lots of one-off TV roles over the years, Ted Lasso has really gotten her career moving. She's in 3 films in 2025. In addition to First Steps, she plays Bernadette in F1 the movie and Simone Bradshaw in Heads of State. Hauser's performance in 2019's Richard Jewell, where he played the security guard falsely accused of bombing the 1996 Atlanta Olympics, gained him widespread acclaim. Hauser's screen career started in 2010 with the independent film Virginia, which he followed up with multiple guest appearances on TV comedies. In 2014, he landed a recurring role as Keith on the DirecTV exclusive series Kingdom. After that show ended in 2017, Hauser had supporting roles in several films, including Super Troopers 2, Black Klansman, and I, Tonya, in which he played Tonya Harding's bodyguard, Sean Eckert. In 2019, he took on a recurring role in the series Cobra Kai as well. Hauser has stayed very busy since he broke out with Richard Jewell, starring in Da 5 Bloods, Cruella, and Inside Out 2, just to name a few. And if you're like us, you can't forget his sketch from I Think You Should Leave.
Jamie Taco keeps taking my lines.
Who's Jamie Taco?
He's the other henchman. He says my lines before I can even get them out.
It's more than clear from the trailers who Mark Gatiss is playing in Fantastic Four: First Steps. He's a talk show host named Ted Gilbert who brings the Fantastic Four onto his show to celebrate their heroism. Gatiss, yes, is English, and he has a whole bunch of acting credits dating back to 1993. Many of those projects never really made it across the pond, but one that absolutely did was Sherlock, which debuted in 2010. Gatiss played the title character's older brother, Mycroft Holmes, in all 4 seasons of the series. Gatiss also played Tycho Nestoris in 4 episodes of Game of Thrones. You may have also seen him pop up in various roles here and there on Doctor Who. That's because, though Gatiss has a lot of acting experience, his bigger claim to fame may be as a writer. He's credited for the script of 9 episodes of Doctor Who and every episode of Sherlock, which he also co-created. He has lots more writing credits to boot. Gatiss has taken to acting in larger American films of late, though, including as Engstrom in Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning and The Final Reckoning.